right, we are back in it. And happy Halloween. This is a special Halloween broadcast of um, game therapy. This game's not really therapeutic unless you know you're not watching it. But we are going to play Dead Space on PC. I originally had this game for PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3, and frankly, I loved it. It was it's a horror game, and they got it right. The atmosphere, everything, like it just when it came out, it was just different and scary, and it wasn't Resident Evil, but it was Resident Evil. So, and it was basically sci-fi. So that was the other thing. The game actually reminds me of the movie. Um, oh gosh, it just left me. Lawrence Fishburne. Oh gosh, that's gonna bug me. It'll come to me later, but it reminds me of a movie and um, Event Horizon. That's the movie. Whew, got it. But yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that movie, and I just again horror movies. I'm a horror movie buff. I like that kind of stuff. It's I think it's odd to me that now that I'm older, that I can watch those kind of things, and remembering when I was a kid when it used to scare me, like really scare me, and now I can watch them, no issue. I thank my one of my uncles for that because he would just watch them all the time when I would be staying over his house with my cousins, and like we'd be running through the living room with my eyes closed, trying not to watch, or covering my ears, trying not to hear, just to get upstairs. So whatever horror movie he was watching at the time, and sometimes I would walk in and see things I probably shouldn't see. I shouldn't have seen at my age, but yeah. So plot of the game is you are a rescue vessel. There's these ships that basically go around and get resources from other planets, or they crack quote unquote other planets to get their resources. And the Ishimura is one of those ships, and you're going there to repair because the fleet has lost contact with them. So you play Isaac Clarke. Um, I'm the person sitting in the chair. And also, the other thing about this game is like, well, we started to see with PlayStation 3 the these kind of next gen, at the time they were next gen games, like high value, or I want to say upscale, like actors and things like that in them. Uh, just one of the guys on here is the guy. I don't know if you've seen the movie Resident Evil, but the leader of the team, the black guy, he was also 006 in one of the Bond movies. He's actually on in this game. A couple other like well-known actors are doing voices in this game, so you start to see that happen. But yeah, so you're Isaac Clarke sitting in the chair, and they're going over the mission details, and the ship in front of you is the Ishimura, dead in space. So your job is to figure out what's going on, why they haven't made contact, because uh, they they're supposed to bring back stuff, and of course everything goes wrong. So yeah, um, you're just a maintenance man. That's who you are, and you're brought into this world. Um, but it's just on a horror genre. Like it's all the horror tropes, but it's done so well. It's beautiful for a video game, And like I said, it was different. Like Resident Evil kind of was that for a long time, and there were some other games, but this one kind of for me, I don't know. I think Resident Evil 2 will probably be my one of my all-time favorite horror games. And Dead Space, like this one, tie like neck and neck. So like one day I might like one over the other. But yeah. So and then Resident Evil is continuing on. I really do hope they do. I mean, another Dead Space. They did. I'm not. If you know anything about the game and just the lore, they did do an animated movie, a prequel to this game. That was really good. Um, and it was. I mean, this game was to a point where it was just like a bit, like with any horror game, you know, when the atmosphere is set up, like, when you're afraid to walk around corners or you're always turning around just to see, like, you're hearing stuff, like the sounds, everything. Like, they they really put it into this. They really did a lot of thinking with this game. Now the thing is, one of the issues that I had with the game was just the controls. It's kind of clunky, um, and even like during this play, like I'm kind of like fumbling through the controls, but I make my way. But yeah, that was one of the things. I think they cleaned it up. They did clean it up on the second one. I have never played the third one. I own the third one. I have just never played it. So I have to. Maybe I'll do a play of that. Just the first playthrough. But yeah, like this is one like I was just like I will buy the series. The other thing is at the time this game came out, and I'm really sidetracking here. There's this group called Various, and they had an album that came out that was called Various, and I felt like that was a soundtrack to this game because it was very sci-fi, very creepy, and very just it's trip hop or electronica, and it fit. And so like a lot of times like when I listen to that album, I think about this game. So, but yeah, so Dead Space, like it's if you've never played it and you like horror games, I suggest you grab it. This is on my computer, so I'm playing it through Steam. So if you have a PC, you can play it. Again, I think it originally came out for PlayStation 3, and now that the PlayStation 5 is out, I'm pretty sure they'll do like they always like Sony always does, um, re-release kind of games for it. So, but yeah, so it's like this is one of those mission games. So all right, so yeah, now it's about to go down. Like something's about to go down when everything goes like this. But it's like a horror movie, and like this is a horror movie trope. It was like, oh, we just got to do something real quick, and there you go, monster. And it's like the worst kind of like you're just like, oh yeah, like if this was you, you'd be like, you know what, time for me to go. And like she's screaming to me, run, run. I'm like again fumbling with the controls, like okay. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. So yeah, yep, just gonna hop on my back, trying to work the controls. And of course, it disappeared, and that's always scary when whatever was chasing you just tried to bust through. Gotcha. Oh, so yeah, all the horror movie tropes, blinking lights. You're just like by yourself, and you're just like, "Why? How did I get here? Like, I should. This was just supposed to be an easy mission, and now there's a limb of some kind of monster that I have to look at in here. Like, again, you just want to creep around because you're like, I don't I don't know, cut off their limbs. And you're like, that sounds like sound advice that he didn't take. So, standard procurement of weapon, so yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's, oh my gosh, you should play this game. Like I said, if you like horror movies, you should play this game. You like sci-fi movies, you should play this game. And it's a lot of missiony stuff. So yeah, I'm really just trying to work the controls. You know, I'm hearing the stumping, and I'm freaked out. I'm like, all right, he sounds really desperate. The other thing is, I forget what it's called when developers basically have to train you while you're playing a game. But most games have that where it's like, you have these new skills. And yeah, you shoot it. It's like, you know, is it a zombie? I don't know because even like you're shooting it, it's still coming at you with no head. So nope, it's not a zombie. It was still coming at me. So, but yeah. So the other thing is, well, getting back to like with developers and how they, basically do in game training. Um, that interests that always interested me because it's like you're playing, they give you the tools and they tell you like here's how you do it, and then they set up a scenario where you're going to have to use. So, instance, I got the plasma cutter, the gun, and they told me how to use it, how to shoot it, and then I had to actually use it to get the feel. So there's a term for that, and it escapes me right now. But I just think that's always interesting in games. Ugh, this looks like a mess. Again, I'm just a maintenance guy. I just want to fix this and go home. Now I gotta kill monsters, and the sounds in this game are just so creepy. Even when you're walking through the bodies, like you're just like, like so. But yep, snatch some health because you're gonna need it. And like it's always, and that's the other thing too, because they build this world, you know, and by you picking up like those audio files, like they're telling you like little side stories. You're hearing other people's experiences, which is building this world where you're just like, man, this is totally effed up. I don't know what's going on because you that's where you're at. But you get like these little glimpses of every what happened prior to you getting there to that location, and it's just smart. Um, so world building, but it's still like I said, it's a horror game, and you'll see me just I'll be creeping around here for a little bit, because I'm just like, and it's been so long since I've actually played this game. Um, and they're all arguing and talking, and I'm just like, guys, we need to get out of here. Like, why are we pretending like we want to do something? You know? And they're just, we're coming up with a plan with what we need to do, and yeah, I just want to be like, we should have went home. We should have had more people on the ship too. Like that's the other thing. We should have brought more people with us because it's only us three now. So yeah, I just so um, but yeah, it's All Hallows Eve, and I decided to do this for horror movie horror. It's a scary time. Let's play a scary game. Um, I was gonna do Resident Evil, but I don't know. I just felt like that was too on the nose. This one kind of has like a sci-fi thing, so it's like, is it? Maybe it's just space, whatever. Look at that, just yeah, it was not. They're just laying around, and the thing is like, shoot the limbs, and it's still a lot. Like, die, just die. Yeah, you know, nope. Don't ever want to encounter that. You're just like, yeah, I better save because if games taught you anything, it's to save your progress. If you can do it incrementally, then do that because inevitably you'll get to a point, even if you're like, oh snap, like I probably should have went left and instead I went right, and it cost me, it cost me dearly. You can go back. Some more audio logs telling you like, what to do, and how they're getting around. Because that's the thing. Like I said, the prequel explains, why this or why this ship is, adrift, and even how those things exist. So, but yeah, so it's a very I'd watch a little cartoon they made. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's never a good thing. You know, when a body just drops from the ceiling, and then, like I said, the sound. And then the other thing is like, there are moments where she just breaks in with communication, and you're just like, I almost crapped my pants because you didn't preface the call with like, hey. I said the controls are just really clunky. And I'm picking up all this cash for some reason. I'm like, why? People just got money laying all around here. Yeah, you hear that? Like, yeah, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, literally, that sound says, do not come this way. And, oh, the other thing is, they kind of also mastered the corner of the eye effect, right? So, if you look in certain directions, you'll see things, quote unquote, and I just love how that, you know, again pulls into the whole horror. Like, like did I see it? Was that something? Like, if you slow down the video, when I looked up, there was something up there that moved into the vents. So, yeah, it's just they really thought this through. Like for the first time, first run game, you know, that corner of the eye effect is just really. It does not make you feel comfortable. And like I said, just the sounds that are going on. You're on a ship and you're just like, I don't know. And like just the environments you see, like with the bodies laying around and the blood. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to slow this door down. They gave me something to do that. Um, so I'm trying to figure out how to like get past this door. Um, but yeah, so I just feel like the corner of the eye effect, the environments, the. I mean, maybe the controls are just like clunky to give you that feel like also like you're off your game. I mean that's kind of genius too. It's like you know, I feel like because the stomp when you do it feels kind of like like he's just frustrated to do it, and when he swings with his arm, you're just like you just feel like like that, like you just feel like it's clunky, like this is a person who's not prepared to do what he's doing and would rather be home, drinking a beer or talking with his wife. You know, part of the story, and it's not a spoiler because they tell you in the beginning. It's his wife is on this ship, so he's kind of got a vested interest in figuring out what's going on. So, but yeah, like I said, all the noise just keeps coming. You know, and I'm like, all right, this is the direction I need to go. How do I get past this door? So I'm trying to figure out the controls. So I'm sorry. Bear with me. But yeah. So what are your favorite kind of horror movies like, or yeah, like in that horror category, like, what would you say would be your favorite kind of horror, movie? Um, Mine is not The Exorcist. A lot of people like that movie. I remember I've watched it a couple times, but I remember watching it with a friend. We had kind of like get to be like, oh, I found it out, a mini like Halloween party. This was years ago when I was in college, and we were watching the movie, and we get through the whole thing, and the girl, I was like, the girl I was, she was one of the party goers. She was like, oh well, that wasn't that scary. And then I told her, I was like, well, it's like based on a true story. The guy, um, William Blake, I believe is his name, who wrote it. Oh yeah, it just goes dark. Yeah, horror movie trope. Like, nope, can't go down that way. So sorry. Was doing research and had found like this story that apparently had happened. Of course, they changed a bunch of stuff. I think the original story was it was a boy and the priest. It was I guess I would say two younger priests, um, and not like an older and a younger priest. Actually, I think it was just one priest that went there. Um, and the the one thing I don't think they included in the movie was like in the actual, I guess, yeah, they just pop out of nowhere. Um, in the one of the actual accounts was that the boy had ripped out, because in the movie the old priest, I don't know if he's, oh crap, he just got up. I shot him. I thought he was dead. I was like, just stomp, just stomp. I'm just gonna stomp you out. um, I think in the original the movie the old priest, is out of action for a while. But in the original, I guess in the actual account was the boy, like, being possessed, like ripped like one of the springs out of the bed and cut the priest with it, like cut his arm, um, which is why they had to bring in another person. So, but yeah, I don't. That's not in the movie. But yeah, So after I told her, I was like, yeah, it's based on like some real account he had found. She was like, now I'm scared. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's not a normal thing. Um, and I think that's why, with horror movies, in general, it's like, why do people like to be scared? Why do people like to be afraid? Uh, and it's interesting psychology of, it really kind of makes us think about our humanity in a sense, because those situations seem like hopeless. Like, you're not gonna make it out of it, and you're going to die. And people in general have a fear of death, and so it's kind of like it makes you think about uh, what's gonna happen. Like when you're gonna die. How would it be? You know. At least that's one school of thought on why people like to be scared. Um, because the other thing is like with amusement rides and things like that, like those things frighten us. Jumping out of an airplane, like again, it's kind of numbering your numbering your days. Like this could be it. And it gives you a rush. It reminds you that you're alive and things are limited and things have an end. And so um, it kind of refocuses you on again living. You know, um, just the sounds and like yeah. So that I don't. What am I gonna do with that? It's nope. And like for me, it's just like yeah, let's just get out of here. All kinds of sound. Like I just how they did this, like smoky hallways and it's like rooms that lead. Where does this room lead? Like what is this? Like it's just a random room. Yeah, it's a bathroom. But there's life in there, so take it. But yeah, so back to that, like yeah, so being scared or doing things that get your adrenaline pumping, as people would say, remind you that you're alive, and remind you again that there is an end, um, and how are you going to deal with that? What have you done? To deal with that. So just some of the thinking, of why people like to be scared, why people like adrenaline and things like that. Adrenaline rushes. So like in this game, yeah, I'm alive. I have to survive. And what do people do to survive? They do whatever they need to do. They fight. You know, you know, and they do whatever they need to do. And it's like some weird, yeah, just controls and just this controls. I figure it out. But yeah, so you do whatever needs to be done to live. It's a biological imperative. I must preserve myself. You know, and everybody has like a different point when they get to that. Um, some people it takes a little bit longer for their imperative to click in, but in these situations, in horror movie situations, it kind of lets us play out scenarios. How what would it be like if I found myself, you know, on a ship, you know, with weird monsters and nowhere to go? Like, how would I deal with that? Like, what would be my um, my thought process on how to survive? Again, here we go. Like, make sure you're safe. So yeah, what's your? I'm trying to think of what my favorite horror movie is, or the kinds of horror movies like because I've seen so many, and some are just dumb, but they're entertaining, and some are just like, huh, that's really interesting. One of them, I guess it's a horror movie, but I don't know. Um, it's called Lord of Illusions. Came out like years ago in the '90s, and Scott Bakula. But it was like the question is like, what if magic was real, and like magicians at like that do shows and whatnot. What if what they do. What if they found out that they could do that stuff for real? Like, how would it play out? And what if there's like some weird magic cult where they're trying to bring back somebody from the dead to get like ultimate power. And I never watched. I didn't watch it until like probably years after it came out. But once I did, I was kind of like, oh, like this is actually pretty good, you know, for a movie because it even like it was again, it was just like actual magicians. What if these people who are we're entertained by what they do, but some of them do it for real. you know, like, it's like wow, like yeah, you think about that, like if you think like because I guess people today would equate it with Harry Potter. You know, yeah. What if that you know there are people who can do it? What would it look like in the real world? You know, how these people function and what if there's like an evil like the people who want black magic or the to use the magic for their own gain, like how would that look, and what if you were a guy who just kind of stumbled across it, that wow, like I really didn't think magic was real until I met you know this person who was actually doing it. So it's actually it was kind of a really interesting movie to me. Um, if you can check it out, Scott Bakula and Femke Jensen, the girl who played Jean Grey in the X-Men movies. She was in it. Of course, there's a love story, which you know they have to throw into movies. But I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to think. Like, there's so many horror movies. Like, I think 28 Days Later. There's a funny story behind that. When I watched that, I actually saw that at a friend's house. We were going. Um, it was right after I think it came out. So, yep. Yeah. So I don't like the fact that they blend in to you see all these dead bodies and they just look like dead body. And I think they block too, which is crazy. Like so, I go over a friend's house to watch this movie, and never like this is like the next level zombie movie. We hadn't had a zombie movie in a while, and so 28 Days Later, and we're watching it, and it's just a crazy scenario, and it's Danny Boyle. So I don't know if you know anything about the director Danny Boyle. Like all his stories start one way and then take like a hard left. So you're like, you're watching it, and then you're like, this is not what we originally what we originally were watching. Like, which for whatever reason, it works. Like, like by the end of the movie, you're like, that's not what I thought it was. That's not how I thought it was gonna end. Like, but yeah. So we watched this movie, and then I'm like, okay, it's a zombie movie. They're doing zombie things, except it's not a zombie movie. And we get to there's this one scene where you see the fur when you run into these fur. They're not zombies because they're filled with rage. So it's not. It's a totally different concept. Uh, yeah, don't just controls. But yeah, so it's just like um, you meet these people who are filled with rage because scientists want to fill monkeys with rage and see what happens. And of course, it should be And I'm if I'm giving it away, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. I'm just telling you how they're not zombies. But I won't tell you like I'm only telling you bits and pieces of the story. I'm not gonna like again. It's a Danny Boyle movie, so like the ending is not what you think, i.e., Sunshine or whatever other movie you wanna look at with Danny Boyle. But you first encounter these things, and they're running at full speed, and I'm not used to those kind of zombies. Like those aren't the zombies that I used to watch. The ones that hobble along and uh, barely make because they're dead. You're like barely could walk, and these things were like straight up track stars, and it was just that was what I think was just so um, disturbing was because you're just like I can't run that fast. I don't have that stamina. And then like Zombieland comes out years later. Was it number one cardio? It's like number one was cardio. But you're just like, yeah, like there's no way. And like you see the one of the main characters running, and you're just like, yeah, if this was me, it'd be done. And because the other thing is like these zombies don't eat you; they just beat you to death. So, like I said, it's not like they're zombies because they're just filled with rage. So it's a different concept. And so yeah, it was just like, oh my gosh, like they're running like crazy. So fast forward to we finished the movie. I'm on my way home, and I'm living in this place at the time where there is a wooded area across from where I live, and I don't really ever think much about it because it's all it's just like one of those just wooded area. It's a pretty big area, so I'm getting out of my car to walk to my house, and I hear this like growling and like something is fighting something, and all I can think of is like I'm in the movie. Like, of like I am in the movie. I need to get inside as quick as possible and possibly barricade the door and windows because whatever is in that wooded area, it's found something and it's tearing it to pieces. So I was a bit freaked. I will be honest, because I was just like, yeah, like no, like that should not be happening. Like I've never heard that. I've never. Oh, he just ran up on me, and like yeah, they're blocking. He's they are blocking. So the graphics are a lot better than they were on the PlayStation 3, but yeah, so that is my 28 days later story. It I got freaked out after the movie. I was more like when I watched it, I was like, yeah, like there's no way I can, because again, you put yourself in this scenario, like how would I survive? And I'm like, these zombies, these are like track star zombies. There's a scene in there where they're in a tunnel and you just see a bunch of them running like top speed, and I'm like, how did they get these people? Like, these people, and like, who can run the fastest? And they're driving. Oh, see that? Like I said, just corner of the eye stuff. You see the shadow. You turn around and nothing's there. Like that's good stuff. So, um, but yeah, so that's my 28 Days Later story, and I really enjoyed the movie, um, because you're just like thrown into it. You're like the main character. He wakes up and the world is over, and it's like what do I do now? And then you realize you're on the run. You know, you're on the run. Hmm. Um, I also like campy ones. So like Friday the 13th is campy. I'm sure when it originally came out, like it was scary. At least the first one and the second one. By the third one, they had went. I feel like they went full camp, and then they just continued on in that vein. They did a remake in 2009, which was pretty good. I really liked it. Um, they toned down the campiness though, and then before that one, of course, Freddy versus Jason, which was like the big talk for years. Like, who would win? It's the original versus, like who would win? And I really like that movie. Like, I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's can't," but I feel like it fit that world, and I liked it. And if you've never seen it, watch it. But then I feel like you should watch like the original Nightmare on Elm Street series and the original Friday the 13th series. With Nightmare on Elm Street, I will tell you, watch 1, 3, 4, and then I think it's 7. Because those are my favorite. So hold on, let me double check. It's 1, 3, 4. Yep, and 7. So, or you can just do 1, 3, and 7. But I mean, the other ones kind of feel like filler. Um, but they're still worth it. If you've got nothing to do, just watch them. Like, um, what else? With Friday the 13th, 1, 2. Um, 1, 2. I would say 4 and 5. There's so many. Jeez. 2, 3, 4. I'd say 1, 2. Let's do 6, 8. Then I like Jason Goes to Hell, which is 9. But a lot of people don't because they feel like it's not a Jason movie, or it doesn't feel like a Jason movie, which I can understand. And then Jason X, just because it's hilarious. It's bad. It's a bad good movie. Like, it's a good bad movie. That's what it is. It's a good bad movie. Because the whole time you're like, well, how are they gonna bring him back? And you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, they brought him back. Like, in the future. Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2. All the rest of them, I feel like they could have done without. Um, one of the newer ones. Oh, I know one you should watch. In the Mouth of Madness. That's a good horror movie. Because it's basically they do an H.P. Lovecraft story, even though it's not H.P. Lovecraft. Um, and it's just done very well. And that's got actually Sam Neill, who you might know from Jurassic Park or Event Horizon, because he's in both those movies, and a bunch of other stuff. What is it? Dead Water with him and Nicole Kidman. Yeah, that's another movie he was in. Another horror movie. Dead Calm. I'm sorry. Yeah, with the young Billy Zane. So Well, that was our ride home, and so now it's like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm stuck here. Yeah. So you see things crawling up the walls, they're crawling up the side, and you're just like, what am I like? This is not cool, guys. I'm low on health. Yeah. Another good movie that I didn't think was gonna be good, but it was very entertaining. Drag Me to Hell. That was a good one. That came out in 2009. But it was just good. It really worked. Uh, so another one that people like is Evil Dead. Um, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness. But the remake of Evil Dead was really good because I feel like the first Evil Dead wasn't, the original Evil Dead wasn't scary. And it wasn't scary on purpose. They wanted to make kind of like fun of the whole thing. But the remake was actually scary. And I was like, huh. I never thought it was gonna be scary. I thought they were gonna just like redo, but no, the person was like, no, we're just gonna make it scary, and it worked, you know. So I would suggest that one. I'm doing a lot of suggestions, I noticed, and not telling you my favorite horror movie. Um, okay, so if you've never seen Fright Night, it's an '80s movie, but it's really good. Another movie in that same vein that just came out last year is called The Wretched. I really enjoyed that. Like I didn't know what to expect when watching it, and I really enjoyed it. Um, and it's with this kid and his, neighbors are up to something, and it's nefarious, but nobody believes him because he's a kid. So, but yeah, you should watch that movie. Um, Another one, like if you like vampires, The Lost Boys is a classic. The original, the first movie. The other two were entertaining, but not, I wouldn't be like, oh, you have to see them. Oh, Mandy. I don't know if Mandy's a horror movie or just some weird psychedelic trip that I think people should take. It's a weird movie, and I suggest that anyone watch it because I enjoyed it. It's Nicolas Cage. It's crazy Nicolas Cage, you know, but when he's crazy, like those are his best roles. So that movie, Mom and Dad, is another one with Nicolas Cage. Um, Actually, watch Mom and Dad. Right, it came out 2018. I would say go watch Mom and Dad right now. Like it was just that good. Um, again, like I'm not telling you my favorite. I'm just giving you suggestions to watch because I just feel like there's so many that I like. So, oh, before this ends, I want to say, please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell to get notifications for new posting. I think that's just the house cleaning that I need to do. I just got new weapons. That's why I was collecting the money. I needed to buy weapons because, of course, capitalism still reigns even in a horror movie. And you have to buy stuff. John Carpenter movies, The Prince of Dark. Oh, The Thing. Oh, you should watch that. The original one. I mean, the one that came out in the '80s, not the original one. Um, but yeah, The Thing. That was a good one. The Reanimator. That's another one. It's a classic. Um, and I really like that one. But it's an H.P. Lovecraft story. So, uh, the first Resident Evil movie I liked. The rest of them I was kind of like, and they're still making them. And I think they're going to make another one. So, oh, the first Ring. Yeah, you should watch that. That's a good one. And that's a lot of atmosphere and just kind of like, hey, if somebody gave you a videotape and told you, to watch this videotape and they didn't tell you that, in the next 7 days you're gonna die, like, what would you do? How would you feel? And what happens? So, but yeah, so those are some of the ones that I would. Oh, Sinister, very great, atmospheric movie. I didn't like the end, but it was a good movie. So those are some of the ones that I would suggest. But in these last few hours of Halloween, you got time to watch, so go ahead and do it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.